we live. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review, recap, or in this case, end of the season review while trying to watch my mouth. And it's not going to happen, but that's all right. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me, we got a special guest here. If you guys can see, we have Shana underscore MCD TV this time. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Mrs. Best is here, but you know, she's a little busy doing something. She gonna jump in.
Hi, I'm here, present and accounted for.
Yes. So while you guys are here, make sure you guys subscribe to the channels. Both of their links are in my description box. Please subscribe to Shana's new channel. Shana, you have a new channel. So go ahead and spread the word.
Yes, as much as it hurts me to say it, I have a new channel, so I'll be primarily over there. I may post on my old channel every once and again just to try to keep it afloat. But yeah, so Shana underscore MCD or Shana underscore MCD TV, if you can, it will help out a lot. I'm starting from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna support you on your journey. I'm about to put a link in the comments too, so people know to go to you because, as I said, they don't YouTube be funny style, and I don't like how they treat us Black content creators. And yes, I'm saying this while live because I don't care.
Tell the truth and shame the devil. Because she didn't even do nothing to lose that channel, from what I see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I can reapply again in April to get back in the partner program, which is it's January, so it's insane.
Well, we're wishing you the best, and as I mentioned, anyone who watches me and supports me, subscribe to Mrs. Best as well, but subscribe to Shana as well. We always are going to support our people, no matter what. So I want you guys to make sure you do that. So we're here as to talk about the end of an era of Love and Marriage Huntsville season 9. And when I say end of an era, I mean it's not going to be the same, you guys. It is not going to be the same. Hi, Shani. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us. She's saying hey to Shana. Thank you. We appreciate it. I'm so happy Shana is here. I finally got her on my channel, y'all. It's been a long time coming.
I know. It's been a long time since we did. I think the last time we did it, what show was that?
We're on Mrs. Best channel. We did
the Never Ever Met, the show that failed. It is. I hope so. The concept was good, but the cast was
horrible. So I'm gonna start. I had a plan, but because Melody decided to come out with a nice little story before the reunion, I now have to cover this first. Thank you, Melody, Cherie, for all of this. So let me go ahead and actually bring up her comment. I'm going to shout out to Essence Magazine because I'm only supporting Black at this time. Thank you for covering the story. It says, Melody Cherie bids farewell to Love and Marriage Huntsville. Honestly, she deserves this piece. She broke the news on social media that she would not be coming back and that she has ended her contract with OWN Network and she plans to do other endeavors. I felt like for me, this was a long time coming because I feel like Melody wanted to leave the show seasons ago. Like I felt like after maybe season 6, Melody was checked out. And that's when all of the beefs were happening between her and Tisha, her and Stormy, So I felt like she was just checked out, and maybe because of contract obligations, she just held on to it a lot longer than she should have. Because I feel like if I want to leave a job or if I want to go someplace else, I should be able to have the freedom to do so. So she held on as long as she could. So her breaking the news early before the reunion, I'm glad she did it like this because I get to talk about it now because I knew she was leaving. But directly, I'm going to ask Shana first. How do you feel about Melody leaving Love and Marriage Huntsville?
It's time. I mean, it's really been a long time coming, but now more than ever, she doesn't get along with anyone. No one gets along with her. I mean, she still has her producer credits. We know this is her baby and she created the show, but I feel like she kind of waited it out. She probably wanted to have all her ducks in a row and get other things in place because, she got a lot of kids. So once everything was set up, then she had the freedom to go, especially that last incident when Martell trying to sit with her. She probably was like, enough. I don't want to. If he's not going to go, I'll remove myself. I have other things going on.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Mrs. Best, how do you feel about Melody leaving Love and Marriage Huntsville?
I mean, pretty much the exact same as both of you. I expected it. We just said this on the last recap, and I know Kevin Reynolds was not in agreement with it, but I'm not surprised that she's gone. She doesn't blend with the cast. She don't like these people. I think that's the clearest change that's visible. Once you stop liking people, it's less natural, and then it's not so entertaining. So I'm glad that she's going. It's gonna prove to the rest of the cast that they ain't got nothing to give.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that because I am curious, and I do have some predictions that I want to share with you two to see if you guys agree with me if this is going to happen or if the show may go in a whole different direction altogether. But for those of you who are not familiar with Love and Marriage Huntsville, it is a show that first started back in I believe it was 2018. The whole premise of the show was to highlight Black entrepreneurs who were in real estate, credit repair, and so on and so forth, showing them giving back to their communities by naming themselves the Comeback Group, where they were going to build quality land development for low income housing and everything off the strength of the ability of their knowledge. And the show very quickly parlayed it into more of their personal life, and we skated away from the real estate developments that they planned on doing. We had beefs in between the groups. We've had infidelity that's come out between, some of the married couples. So a lot has happened where it kind of got away from the initial vision of what this show was supposed to be about. And then this show parlayed it to two different, what do they call those franchises when they split apart?
Sister or spinoffs?
Spinoffs, there we go. So where Love and Marriage has taken on, it still highlights entrepreneurship, but it looks different from the original vision. And now that we're in season 9 and there's a whole lot more changes, I want to highlight some of the other couples or other people that also were on season 9 that decided to leave midway through the season, as Melody is leaving us as well. So I put together a little slideshow for us. Whoops, jumping ahead. So I wanted to highlight Kiki Jabar. She was on the first episode of the opening season of season 9. And shortly after her last episode airing, she unfortunately had passed away. I want to pay homage to Kiki because I feel like they're not touching on it. And I understand it was because of her family. They wanted to keep the matter private. And I completely understand that. But Kiki was a very vital part of the show. She was on for one season. She was Latricia Scott's cousin. And I feel like she really didn't get the just due that she deserved because there were so many things that went against her that I did not like. How did y'all feel about Kiki's part of the show? And how do you feel like her ending happened? I'm going to start with you, Shana.
With her part of the show, I was fine when she left, but I do think that they should have honored. I mean, I understand with her family wanting to keep it private, but it was already in the news. I hope they at least acknowledge her in the reunion. Like, we don't have to go into detail, but just some quick acknowledgement because she was a part of the cast and she's Tisha's cousin. So I think she is justified in having that. She was, popping in here and there prior to her even being a cast member. So we've kind of seen her all throughout.
Absolutely. Mrs. Best, how did you feel about Kiki's last moments on the show and to her unfortunate passing?
Her last moments on the show, I personally didn't care too much for. I wasn't bothered by them, but I also wasn't excited by them, if that makes sense. Her passing was really, really sad. I feel like as audiences watching these people on reality TV, we should learn to respect certain things. I think kids, deaths, marriages, family are things you should not speak of. So I don't blame them for not wanting to share it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So, we're gonna pay homage to Kiki because I did like her on the show. And I hope that, they do honor her at the reunion, like Shana said as well. They would need to because I feel like she did have a vital part on the show. The next couple to leave the show midway through season 9 was Stormy and Courtney. Now, it's no surprise to me that Stormy left the show because directly she had to turn herself in to be arrested for harassing communications, which was a very embarrassing moment for her on TV. We know that she did break records with TikTok, getting $1 million in a single day sale, which was huge for anybody in the Black community. So I'm always going to champion her for that. We know that she did not, get along with Latricia Scott, Melody, and everybody else. So I'm going to start with Shana first. Do you feel that Stormy's leaving the show was justified, or do you feel like she should have kind of held on until the end of the season?
I'm pretty sure that lawsuit, with her former, what was he, the former CFO or whoever she hired and she brought on, I'm sure that played a major part as well. So, I mean, the way that she just left like without a word.
Right.
She did kind of speak up and saying she wanted to move to Cali and, she has a thing going with TikTok. So, I'm, again, fine with her leaving. She's on the bigger and better things, but I'm sure that lawsuit probably played a major part. So, while I understand her wanting to leave, I thought they would have at least said something, but I did hear that they're going to bring her out for the reunion. So we shall see.
I hope she comes. I need her to clear up some things. So I'm hoping that she does come for the reunion. I didn't see her in any of the trailers. So, we'll see what happens with that. But for me, I felt like the fans really never gave Stormy the fair chance. There was always some part of them saying that she was ghetto, she was a hood rat, she was this, she was that, she was someone that came into new money. So, Mrs. Best, I wanted to ask you, and me and you had this conversation when Stormy got arrested, and we were saying, she could have avoided all that by calling the police and everything. And with Shana mentioning all of the lawsuits with the former CEO, did you think that Stormy just didn't want to talk about that? Or do you feel that it was just too much that happened?
I'm sure lawsuits always play a part in people's departure when there's one that's active and people are aware of. However, I actually loved Stormy, but not on this show. She's the one person who's done this show for me personally that I actually liked versus just being forced to watch the Sport James. I that's the one I liked. I felt like the rest of the cast was either jealous of her or allowed her success financially and with her business to impact how they interacted with her. But I think when you get to a certain point in your career, it's important to close certain doors so that others can open. So I don't blame her for leaving. Nobody gave her a chance. They didn't care what she had to say. If she told them the truth, they questioned it. So it's kind of similar, in my opinion, to Melody leaving. After so long, you can only do so much with these people. They need to get rid of the miserable couples that's pretending like they still in love so that they can actually get back to the root of what this show was supposed to be. Because for Black people and Black excellence, the idea of the show is a great thing. And you can have that great idea with drama, but I don't know, the Scotts and Martell, they take shit to another level. So
we have a slideshow for them, so we're gonna get to that in just a moment.
No, we got to look at them some more.
We got to look at them some more, y'all. I'm so sorry. We got to do it. The last thing I want to touch on with Courtney and Stormy is, do you really feel what Carlos King was saying about how the fans played a huge part in her departure from this show? Do you really feel that that was true, or do you feel like he was trying to find a reason to blame the content creators and the fans for her departure? I'm asking you this first, Shana.
I didn't even know he said that. I do think the fans played a part because she acknowledged it. She mentioned it on the last reunion that, she was getting backlash, and especially falling out with Melody. The millimeters just, they don't play. So that definitely played a part. I think also her not having really any drama in her marriage. All the other couples have something going on. They're the only couple that didn't really have any marital drama that we were aware of, but they're keeping it under wraps. So she just wasn't gonna make it long. Especially now that Melody's leaving, she bought on Trish. I feel like her time was up as well.
Yes, absolutely. Mrs. Best, the same question for you. Do you think that her departure had anything to do with Carlos was saying about how the fans have played a part in that?
I'm gonna say no, just because all that she's been doing with TikTok and on other platforms, I feel like she's exposed anywhere in other areas. But I do definitely feel like it's Carlos' responsibility to put the fans in check. It doesn't mean he can stop people from doing what he's doing, but speak out about it. Maybe he should have spoken out about the fans of this show a lot sooner. Because I know you, James, didn't even want to cover this show because of the fans and how passionate they get over a show and people they've never met. So yes, the fans played a part in it, but for me, I feel like Stormy may hold Carlos more accountable. You can be cool with someone and still hold them accountable, but yeah.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on, you guys. We're going to talk about the newest additions to the show. And maybe not so much new addition, but she came back to the show. So in the slide here, we have pictured Destiny with Sonny and Moses, Ken and Trish, and Chris and Nell Fletcher. So I want to start off with Destiny and her storyline, which was Sonny and Moses, pretty much. And how this whole circumstances of Sonny being someone she considered a friend, going after her ex, then marrying him, and then coming as a cast member on the show. How do y'all think this actually happened? Like, do you think that Sonny pitched herself to come on the show, or do you think Carlos brought them on the show so that Destiny would have something to talk about? I'm gonna start with you, Shane.
Both. I feel like she kind of put it out there that, you know, she was a former producer and all that. We didn't know anything about her until this happened. So I feel like she kind of put it out there. She wanted that exposure. She wanted to get from behind the scenes and in front of the camera. And when Carlos saw it and word was getting around, of course, he ate it up and wanted to bring her on to have the drama. Destiny needed it. If it wasn't for this, what else would we have her on the show for? She had nothing going on.
I actually agree with that. I do. Mrs. Best, how do you feel?
You know, I feel the exact same thing because I've been saying it episode after episode on our recaps. Destiny gives absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Talk about the real, so
yeah, like she doesn't give anything except a storage unit that she probably put $1 down on with the monthly special. Okay, she's not. That was a storage unit, and nothing's wrong with it, but she has nothing to give, and then she does all this fraudulent things off camera, doesn't want to talk about it, but then at the same time wants to profit over it, like putting your mugshot on a mug. All of these things are strange. But as for how Sonny got on the show, she gives pick me, like a quiet pick me. Not every female's gonna be like all the way out there with it. And I feel like her pick me status applies to men, audiences, random people, whatever. And she did break girl code, but I feel like Carlos probably tried to push them on the show because it seems like Sonny and Moses, as well as Destiny, had nothing to talk about outside of each other. And I that irked me, made my teeth itch the whole season. So, but I would keep.
You would keep Sonny and Moses?
I wouldn't, if I had to choose. Now, I wouldn't keep them by choice, but if I had to pick between Sonny and Moses and or Destiny, keep the one that's actually in love and a marriage and get rid of the one that is slinging candles out of a storage unit. That's how I feel.
I feel like this. I feel like, because, you know, I was one of the ones that said I really didn't see the problem with Sonny and Moses being married if I believe Sonny about her relationship with Destiny. If it was just business, I really didn't see the problem with it. I didn't, because now I changed my mind because I felt like Sonny was playing. I felt like you probably did consider this girl a friend. And then, yes, you are moving snakish now because now that it's something she had said. I don't know if it was Stormy's party or if it was the trip, but she had said something or alluded to the fact that they did have some sense of acquaintanceship. So in that case, I have to now retract my statement and say, no, Sonny, you wrong for this. Because if you had an acquaintanceship or a friendship with this person, then no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. But if it was just business, I can't say that that's wrong. I'm sorry. I'm like one of those people where the lines get blurred a little bit.
It's wrong. To me, it's wrong either way, just from a sense of professionalism. You work on this show. Keep your legs closed to your colleagues and subordinates. That's how I feel. But and I think a lot of us get wrapped up in the whole, you know, girl code thing. Were they friends? Were they not friends? When really it doesn't matter if she was a producer on the show. She shouldn't have been doing that anyway. But
and if they really weren't friends and just former co-workers, then why not saying it? Why did y'all move the way that y'all did? Why were you sneaky about it and hiding it? And the way they went about it was so sneaky. And to say you're not friends, sure, maybe you weren't best friends, but Destiny was on vacations with you and your family. You're not just doing that with any old body. Like, come on now. No.
I think that's what she said that made me feel like, okay, no, you blurred the lines.
When Destiny said she introduced Sonny to him at her birthday party, like, why are you at my birthday party? if we're not cool like that. Like I don't just go around inviting everybody to my birthday party. Like nothing makes sense. Destiny was justified in it, but I think she's now it's getting old though. Stale. Like okay, we get it, we understand. Outside of that, what else? Sunny should have used this to parlay into something else. Not know I was a former producer. Okay, but what else? Unless we talk about him being in jail, who cares? There's nothing else to talk about.
No, I agree with that too because I felt like we spent way too much time her trying to clean this up, Sunny trying to clean this up, and then Destiny trying to be angry about it at the same time. It did get old. And especially this finale episode when they were at Nell's party and they were going back and forth and all this. I'm like, oh my gosh. That's when I was kind of with Sunny. I'm like, okay, I need you to let this go. Like, I was the reason why I'm here. Nell wanted me here. And that was Nell being messy. That was Nell being messy. So I feel like
she's going to be there. Like, this is the cast event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but speaking of, we're going to parlay that to Nell and Chris Fletcher. Now, we understand that they weren't necessarily a new cast member as well. Not Destiny, pretty accountant. Not Destiny was a 15-year side chick. You know, it still don't make it right.
He was in jail most of the time, and she was married. So I was like, I'm like, he just got out of jail like recently.
But I do need Destiny to clear up this timeline.
Yeah, she said they were friends for 15 years. To try to
this timeline don't make sense.
Somebody commented she was a 15-year side chick. I agree. Yeah. There it is.
But that's what I'm like, married, though. Like she was married, so I'm trying to figure out when was this 15 years? Like when was this 15 years supposed to? Was it in high school?
He said that he was in jail for a majority of his life. Like most of the time, he was gone anyway. So
yeah, it's not. I need her to clear that timeline. If she do come back next season, she need to clear up that timeline.
I feel like they were just dating for maybe a few months or so. Like, I feel like it just wasn't. She tried to say, oh, we were friends. Well, how close of a friends were you? He was in jail. You were a pen pal?
I hate that this covers up your pen pal. So I am so sorry that this covers up your face because I do not want this. I hate this. But I'm going to read this comment really quickly. There was nothing to discuss. There was no long-term relationship where she wanted him and he wanted her. They both got married during this period. So at what point was he the one for her? Make it make sense. Mm-hmm. I agree. That's why I said I really was not bothered by Sunny and him getting married. I wasn't because it was like, what? Like,
once they married, let it go, Destiny. They married.
Yeah. When that happened and she was speaking out on it, I felt like, okay, if I just found out, you don't get to tell me how to react to something I'm just processing. But now we got to part 2 and it was months later and it's like, okay, now put it to rest. Like after this, I don't want to hear about it no more.
But I'm sure she knew when she signed back to come back on this show that they would be there because she has nothing else to show and give.
About. So it's like when you first come back on and okay, yes, you're going to touch on it.
I'm going to give you the theatrics. Yeah, I'm going to give you what you want. Mm-hmm.
But she should use that time not to say, oh, well, I'm relaunching Madani for the 115th time. Like, show us something else. Talk about that scamming you were doing, allegedly.
She don't want to incriminate herself on national TV, Shana.
Well, she showed, like Mrs. Best said, she showed her mugshot. So while we're here, what was going on with those faulty checks or whatever?
Right. If you want us to pay over $20 for a goddamn mug, then I want to know why the mug that I'm about to pay all this money for has you in a mugshot. I want to know.
Field days, talking about Big D energy. No, because you talked about you cried a river when you had to get on food stamps. Tell us why you were scamming or whatever you were doing.
I agree. And I want to know about LeBerick. I really do. I want to know how we got
that was her husband. That's who you had a child with. We can talk about it at this point.
And why is your son not on camera with you? Why you don't have no play dates with him or nothing? Like everybody else.
Because LeBerick said, but I'm like, is this legal? And now that LeBerick has something going on, like that could. This is an ongoing. Everybody, I'm like, if you were a part of this cast at some point, you're gonna have a mugshot.
Yeah, pretty much.
That could have been something else that she could, kind of touched on. And so
just a little bit.
Yeah, just enough to, not get in trouble.
Tell us what really happened between you and Martell. Oh, that's another thing that was alleged this season too. So, do y'all believe that, like, that something happened between Destiny and Martell? Mm-hmm.
No, I don't.
Who?
Destiny Martell. Do you believe something happened between them two?
Sexual? No, I don't. I don't get that. I don't get the energy. I feel like
Get
she
it?
might want to do something with him sexually. I don't know if the feelings reciprocated, but I don't think they've done anything
I
yet.
think he might want to do something with her. I don't think she's interested in him. I think she's just befriending him out of spite because she's hurt from Melody. And she doesn't let things go. Like she holds on to it. So Melody hurt her. She's still hanging on to it. She's just like some get back. I don't think she's interested in him.
That makes sense too, because she do seem real petty.
That's why I said she looked like she was Robin Givens the situation. You know how in Boomerang when Robin Givens showed up in that coat and she was in her drawers and she revealed it to Marcus. That's what Destiny gives me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm probably on the island by myself with thinking that, but no, she gives me that she was Robin Givens the situation. She really would. But yeah, we're gonna move on, y'all, because we're gonna move on to Nell and Chris. So as we know to the audience, thank you guys for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe to all 3 channels, please. But make sure you like the video, subscribe to this channel. Welcome, Shana. This is her first time on my channel officially. I've been trying to get her here. I'm slow at this, so I'm sorry, but I'm glad she's here nonetheless. So yes, thank you so much once again, guys.
I love it here. No, I'm not really.
So we have Nell and Chris Fletcher. So as we know, they're not new to Love and Marriage Huntsville. They have been friends to the show. They were introduced to us by Martell and Melody. They were somewhat of a couple advisor, since Melody don't want to use the term mentor, which we'll talk about in just a second. But they were the couple advisors. We know that their story was based on, them being a married couple for 30 years. They have successful businesses in Huntsville. We do know that there was a scandal in their marriage. We don't know at what point the scandal happened, but we know that Chris had stepped out of the marriage at one point. They only said one time. So I have a couple questions about that, because something about that didn't seem right with me. And I want to know if I'm on the island by myself with this one. I'm going to start with Mrs. Best. Do you think that Chris only cheated one time on Nell?
That man's still cheating, and can't nobody convince me different. Hey, I'm serious as a heart attack. That man is still cheating. Between what did my husband say when looking at Nell when he was walking past the TV? How come her face is a different color from the rest of her? Because her makeup artist, her wigologist, her stylist, whatever you want to call it, needs to be fired. If I had to look at that wig and that makeup year after year after year, I'd be cheating too. However, Nell also seems like the type that wants to, she seems like the type of woman who like lets her marriage define her, if that kind of makes sense. Like she has to give advice. Everyone has to know she's married and all of these things. But then you also see with Nell that she never addresses any of her trauma. She doesn't communicate well. So I don't feel like these people were ever a good couple to even come on and try to be a mentor to anybody personally. And I don't think that man ever stopped cheating. I think he's still cheating. That's why he be checking Martell the way he be checking him sometimes. Like, shut the hell up. I don't trust it.
Yes. And Shana, how do you feel? Do you think he's still cheating, or only cheated once?
I agree with Mrs. Best. He's definitely still cheating, or has cheated, far more recently than he would like. They would like to admit, because I feel like she knows. I feel like she's aware that her husband's a cheater, but it is like she did make being married her personality, and she's just from like a generation where they really hold value into that. Like, it's great to be married, but if something happened and it ended today, I don't know if she would be able to pick up the pieces like Melody did and kind of thrive. I think she really does let it define her, especially with that we're mentors or mentors. Once we actually got to know them, I liked them when they were just popping in and out or a friend of capacity. Once we got to know more about them, I didn't want them on the show. Everybody liked their family drama, but I feel like now it just lets me know that you don't need to mentor anybody. Y'all don't need to keep y'all advice to yourselves. Like, I don't want you to tell me how to stay in suffrage. So your kids are cussing you out. Like, no, thank you. But yeah, I think he still is.
Okay. So do you think that their dynamic fits Love and Marriage Huntsville as far as who they are as a couple, and also being amongst these other couples?
Yeah, because I know the premise of the show, they were saying like, oh, it's supposed to be about, entrepreneurship and, these Black-owned businesses and real estate. But I mean, the show is called Love and Marriage Huntsville. So we knew we were really going to more so, at least I thought from the beginning, that we were going to focus on the marriage aspect and all that. I mean, they are married. I think maybe the age gap is kind of throwing it off. But
Mm.
I think her wigs and her makeup looks a lot better now than it did when she first really kind of started her confessionals. Now that she's been on for a little while, she stepped it up. It was that ankle and that foot that I was tired of seeing. But
Everybody talking about that big toe, and I still did not look at that.
Did
So
you see how long her toenails was? And
ugh,
people told me I was mean. I had some DMs like, why you get at that lady feet? Listen, I get my pedicures every 10 days religiously. When the direct deposit hit, my feet get hit. Nell need to figure that out. If he looking at them bear claws on her toes, he's definitely cheating.
it
um,
pissed me off. It was unnecessary. Why are we zooming in? Like I believed her when she said it. Y'all didn't have to show proof. But I feel like he cheats on her regardless of what she looked like. He gonna cheat because he knows she's gonna stay. So why not?
yeah, he looked like a type that want his cake and eat it too. I do agree with that. Shani in the comments said, "Let me find out Carlos is going to give Nell and her husband and the family a spinoff show." I don't see that happening. I don't. I don't feel like their family, unless they're going to talk about that oldest daughter, Lexi,
Yeah,
who,
bring her back.
yeah, unless they bring her back, that's the only way I would tune in because I need to see that dynamic. They skated over that in the opening of this second part of this season, and I'm like, where is Lexi? Why was she not a part of the wedding? Was she there? I need people to answer these questions, and no one seemed to confirm whether or not Lexi was there at the wedding or not.
Of course she wasn't. She ain't speaking to them. I just want her to be acknowledged, even if they don't say her name. Like, just acknowledge you have another child, especially Chris, because this is a biological child. Like, they just are like, oh yeah, we just got these 3 kids, and that's it. Like, that's why Lexi had the problem. Y'all are excluding her.
I do see that and will agree with that because I didn't watch every single season of this show and came back to it for the lives, but I often do forget that they have another child.
I often forget about her too, and I went a whole season not even acknowledging Lexi. It wasn't until I was watching Ladies First Channel with Bondi Blue, Niecy Dixon, and Jamie That's Me that they brought it up in question. I said, "Oh my god." I totally forgot about Lexi. I totally forgot about her, and I feel bad. So that's why I'm mentioning it now because I don't want her to go unnoticed because she did play a part in their storyline when it came to the dynamic of their kids because that's an element of what they showed.
Mhm.
They quickly skated off of that topic. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened because that was a huge part of their story.
Someone
So I don't
told me
know.
in my comments that Lexi said she didn't want them mentioning her, and that's why okay, maybe mentioning her by name, but I'm never. If I have kids, I'm never gonna not mention that I have another. I'm not gonna say, oh, well, here goes my son, and not acknowledge that I have another child at least, especially because we already seen her. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't like that. You don't leave no. I don't care if these are grown adults now. You don't leave any kids out. And the way she came on so strong, I don't do steps, and this is my daughter. Okay, well, just because y'all got into it, you don't get to just be like, never mind, forget her, and just go on.
Right. That's how we feel about Jackie Christie on Basketball Wives with her oldest daughter. Like,
And that's trifling because that is actually her daughter. Like, I can't, I don't like Jackie for that reason.
me too. I feel strongly about every time her and Doug talking about getting married, and you obviously see that the oldest daughter is not there. It's like, Jackie, come on. And then you want to get mad at everybody when she reaches out to the other cast members, say, "Hear me, my mama don't see me," and then you want to get mad at them. It's like, no, I don't like that. Like, I just don't. So yeah, I don't need toxic Lexi on any show. She's taken on her mother's hurt from the divorce, and she needs therapy. That might be true, but I can't absolve Chris from that responsibility either because we don't know what happened in that marriage. You know, when it came to her father and her mother, so she could be taking on her mother's hurt. It's a different. You know, I'm a relate this Family Empire Houston, where we had Keisha and her father Bubba, and how he didn't have a relationship with her until her sister went and got her, and they gave exact detail of what age she was, what happened, and how his wife was angry. At that point, we're able to judge the dynamics and able to pick apart the layers because we have specific details of the story. We don't have that from Lexi's point of view or her mother's point of view, and Chris has not explained why he left that first marriage. If that was his first marriage, I don't know. I'm just saying, the dynamics of that. We don't know the details. So I can't say that she's toxic based on her response because we don't have all of the context yet. Would you
If
ladies?
she is toxic, though, I do think it's important, and I could be doing the psychology BS, but I think it's important to acknowledge that we are our parents no matter how much we try to deny it. And
Yes.
it's up to our parents, even when we're adults or when they choose to remarry, to fix that dynamic. So if that girl is so difficult and has taken on her mama's hurt, then her dad needs to step the hell up. Because
Right.
I get it. I don't have kids, but I have step parents, and they can step in and be like bonus parents and so great. But then at the same time, when it comes to dysfunction or issues that may be stemming from the previous marriage with the actual parents instead of the step people, it can get messy. So I think that's where Chris needs to step up more, Mr. Fletcher, and be a parent. Nell can only do so much. That ain't her child.
And I feel like from what I recall of the conversation when she was expressing her hurt, she always felt left out or abandoned. She didn't feel like she was getting the same type of acknowledgement. And this is exactly what they're still doing till this day. So this just confirmed for me that her feelings were justified. She's also grown now. So where she was a child and, her mom might have been telling her things. Now she's an adult where she can make sense of it and say, okay, well, when she was going around saying he cheated on my mom with, she's able to know that now and look at it as an adult and say, okay, well, my dad was messy. Well, y'all did mess around when my mom was married to my dad, and kind of interpret it and process it. Chris didn't do a good job of trying to work on that relationship with his daughter. I feel like he started a new family and he kind of just went on
A
and was
lot of
taking a lot
men
of
do
ownership
that.
as a child in the situation, even though she's grown.
Hmm. Doesn't Nell have a child separate from Chris?
Lance.
Lance. And
Yeah,
Lance
and
is
he's
all
here
up
all
in
the
there
time.
married.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so it's easy to say because Lexi was living with her mom. So it's like, oh, well, I'll say out of mind versus Lance was living with his mom. So now he's in the house and you're taking him on and I'm being shut out. If you're going to say this is
Mhm.
Yeah.
a blended family, you don't leave kids out. It's going to, as hard as it is, not because of, if they would have done it the right way as she was growing up, when she got good and grown, then there wouldn't be such tension. Even with the niece feeling left out the one time, I'm like, there's something going on here. Y'all need more therapy. Dr. Francis needs to come back around. I just don't really care to see it, honestly. Like that.
Especially because they didn't go into that much of detail about it, and
Yeah, they
it's
just
really
moved
hard.
on, and then it just
Yeah, it just kind of like we had it and then it went away, and it's like, okay, well, what more are we leaving out? Because there was a lot left out. There
That
really was.
family is going to keep going in circles with the drama, though, if they stay on this show. Just in my professional opinion, they need to all get individual therapy for some time.
Especially
And
now.
yeah, and then come and try to do family therapy, because family therapy is going to be useless if people are not used to the dynamics and don't feel comfortable with therapy itself. But
because I'm wondering why are the kids the way they are? The son keeps going to jail. Lance keeps getting divorced after
mhm.
years. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, there's definitely something that is missing as far as something that is compelling. I feel like
There's so much compassion. Now it's compassion and mentorship and advice for everybody in their marriage, but you're cussing your own kids out, not listening to them.
Mm.
mhm. It's
Making
giving
stuff about money, and that bothered me.
no,
Bringing
it's
up
giving pretentiousness. That's what it's giving. If I
mm,
had to give it, because Nell parades herself to be this, body of knowledge, body of endurance, and everything to everybody else. But when we see her, the dynamics with her kids, she telling one to shut the hell up. She telling, "What am I ain't gonna give you no money no more?" And then she's asking the other kid, "Well, where my money for this dog and stuff?" So it's kind of like, okay, so at home you take the wig off and we see who you really
Yeah,
are.
right. You understand?
Yeah.
I understand her frustrations because kids will do that to you. Like they will, they will take advantage. It's really hard parenting because you give, and sometimes you shouldn't expect to get anything in return, but you don't get a lot back in return. Like they kind of take you for granted. I see her frustration, but I'm like, why is so much of the financial responsibility falling on her? Like she's like, I don't have any more money. I'm broke now because I gave my money. What is your husband doing? This is y'all's child. So it's like, why are you the one feeling so financially strapped after you've helped everybody? Why isn't he stepping in? Hold him accountable.
that's a good point, because she did point out in the little therapy session with the family that she will pay for stuff. And Chris tried to step up and be like, but I'm here. I'll help her. She not gonna be broke. And she still acted as if she is going broke. So to go back to your question that you asked us earlier, James, this I think is part of that. For me, the thought process of this man is still cheating and these kids probably experiencing all types of dysfunction and crazy shit off camera. I feel like she may say yes and continue to pay for stuff, maybe out of guilt, which is common with adult parents and in minority households, especially, not just Black people. So don't put that all on us, damn it. But I think it definitely has something to do with the dynamic of the marriage, because they are the heads of their household. So the way that everybody else behaves is always going to be a reflection of what's really going on.
Yeah.
And something's
What
happening.
she's carrying on is what Tisha said she felt like when Tisha said, and well, Mrs. Best, you know, always watch when Tisha kept saying in the earlier seasons how she felt like a married single mom. And that's what Nell is giving. Like she's acting as if she's a married single woman, which I mean, it's not the same, but being a single parent, I'm like, I get overstimulated at times with my kids because all the responsibility is falling on me when I'm in the house by myself. I shouldn't feel that way when it should be a shared responsibility with someone else. So I get why she's acting like that. You're still going to do for your kids, even if you cuss them out or whatever. Like you're not going to leave, you're going to show up for your kids. But she's frustrated and she's being pulled in so many directions. And Chris is out like, oh, well, I'll be there if you need me. Like, no, not if you need me. Step in and help. Just like you need to step in with your daughter. Like he's like fine taking the back seat because he can just go out and do his thing while everybody else is taking on all the responsibilities.
He may be intentionally letting her take on everything so he could go creeping around in the
As a
night on the come up.
distraction, yes, I kind of can see that. I can see that. Yeah, distraction piece, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So we picked apart Nell and Chris Fletcher, and I think that they would be good to come back to the show. But if they do come back, I want to see less of the giddy pretentiousness that they put on, and I need to see more of the realism. I'm just going to say that. We're going to
I
move
want to
on.
see a couple their age also. I don't feel like they blend with this group and they're going to feel pressured to be mentors without any other couples.
Kimmy and Maurice.
They don't count, James. Don't do that.
And they don't respect Kimmy and Maurice because they're still like young in their marriage compared to them. Like they need someone who has a lot of marriage under their belt. I don't know. Because it's like now that Melody is gone, that changes dynamic. Because she's the one who like calls her Miss and all that stuff, and kind of gives her that like makes her feel older. Nell doesn't like that. So it's like maybe now that we're taking that out of the equation, she'll feel a little bit better and feel like it's more of a friend group, not just like a mentor mentee relationship. Which I don't think she's anybody mentor. Like I think she's just giving advice. But
yeah, I can see that. So now we're gonna break apart this new couple that has joined the show season 9. We have Latricia and Ken Lee. They are the couple next in the middle here, if you guys do not know them. So they were brought onto the show as a friend of Stormy and Courtney's. We later on learned from, especially on Trisha's side, that she is still married to her husband, and Ken is her boyfriend that, moved into the house with her and her children. She also has a past with Martell that may or may not have been sexual. That was also revealed. It took a very long time to get there, which makes me feel like there was even more to this story than what was led to believe. Trisha is very poised and very stern and very traumatized. I don't know what's going on with her. Ken has also a pattern. This is the second married woman that he has been with. So he has a pattern there as well. And as far as their dynamic on the show, I felt like we put a lot of focus on them that I feel was unnecessary because we never got any confirmation of anything. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Best.
Why you do that?
Because I know you're going to go in. That's why I'm going to go with my big hitter first, and then I'm going to move it on to Shana. So I want to feel like, do you feel that their dynamic on this show was one that needed to be revealed? And if not, how did you feel about them as a couple? The new couple.
All right. Listen, y'all could cancel me. I don't got shit no way. I'm going to say this. I do not like these people. I do not like them individually, except like if they weren't a couple, I don't like them individually. I don't like them together. I don't like these people. And my reason for not liking them, they both seem full of poop emoji. That is what I will say. These people lie so much, but it frustrates me that they're so bad at lying. Jesus did wept. I'm trying to tell you.
I don't know who you are, but I love you already. I love you already. That was funny.
They're horrible.
Who's gonna cancel you for saying that? I think everyone's in agreement here.
Oh, no. Because I feel like this fool, I feel like he can't satisfy her in the bed because I truly believe he's on steroids. I'm not trying to be funny. In my heart of hearts, I believe that because he's strange. But he also has a pattern. So I'm looking at him like, what the hell you expect? You've done this before. You've dated other married women. What did you expect? And then on her end, it's like for you to be intelligent based on your field of work, to do this doesn't make any sense. I think some of it is trauma, but I think a big piece of it is both of these people have bigger heads than they should actually have about themselves, and they don't listen. And I just don't want to ever see them again. I'll say that. I'll be good today.
Shana, how do you feel about this too?
I was on a panel last week and someone pointed out that we don't know what type of engineer she is. And that is true. So maybe he was onto something when he said that her finances ain't like that. Because who knows? Because I'm like, she said she's been doing it for 18 years. I feel like you're an engineer. You should be okay financially where you're not constantly needing to be in a relationship. Like, be alone. I don't understand why people just can't be by themselves. She needs some time by herself. You're bringing your kids into madness. I really, these two on the show, I don't want to see them anymore. I really don't see it for them. I mean, him saying that he wanted to date married women before. He said he didn't want to be married before. I guess he just fell in love with this one. But the more that comes out with these two, the more I'm just like, I don't want to see it. The way he threw up what he does for her in her face. I'm like, girl, even though I heard they're filming already, so I heard they're back. But her trying to argue with Melody, and it's like the audacity of you are. And I understand Melody was taking shots, but you were messing with this woman's husband while they were still married. And you didn't tell her.
As a married woman yourself.
Married woman.
Yeah, so let's get into that. Do you guys think she slept with Martell?
I'm going to keep it a buck. I don't feel like they went, how do I say this like in an adult way? I hate to talk dirty on the internet. I really do. I feel like she might have gave him some head or something, and he might have tasted it, and they kept it moving. That's what I feel like. I don't feel like they actually did anything. But I feel like it's easier for her to lean into this bullshit ass storyline about what could have been with Martell, because I personally feel like she's lying about the whole separation and how that came about. I feel like she was talking to Ken while she was married, and then her husband came to her like, I want to find myself. And then I think a series of unfortunate events happened with the deaths. I feel like she might have used him wanting to go and find himself and them separating as a way to finally hop on top of Ken's pony to see what that do. And it probably crescendoed into all of this because she don't seem like she's that into him. But I would keep him around too if I needed the money and had kids and he was paying. Sure.
Shana, do you feel like she slept with Martell?
It's like I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like Mrs. Best, like, I think something happened that they're trying to keep secret, but she didn't do a good job. Like, girl, if you're gonna be a secretive and sneaky, be sneaky. When he acted like he didn't know you, you should have been like, hi, nice to meet you, and kept it pushing. She wanted to make it known, so I'm like, something had to. Maybe they didn't go all the way. I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that they did. Pretty Accountant made a good point. I don't know. See, they do a lot of stuff off camera. Like, all the stuff comes out off camera, and I don't keep up with them outside of the show because the show is on year round, so I can't keep up with everything they do. Like, outside. Yeah, she didn't say that on the show, but maybe she said it somewhere else. She should be fine.
Here's the thing. I don't know. That's a very big flex if she does.
Yeah.
And I need proof of that. I need NASA to come and claim her at that point because that's a huge flex. But what I'm going to
quit that and be a personal trainer. I mean, not saying
like that.
Oh, that's my biggest question. Right? Why would you go from an engineer to personal trainer? That doesn't make sense.
He's like, I got you. You don't got to. I wouldn't depend on you for a motherfucking thing. Like, not after you just threw everything up in my face on Mad Day. When you get upset, they're going to throw it back in my face. No, thank you.
Yeah, even though I feel like to some degree I felt it was disrespectful. I feel like don't bring up what you do for me and stuff out of anger because you can't get the context of what I'm telling you. She's telling you who she is, Ken, and you're just not paying attention because you want the answer to be different. That's really what this is. But he was definitely disrespectful in what he said because you don't have to do it.
Right.
Let her fall on her own sword if that's the case.
I was with him all the way until he did because she was playing in his face. But at this point, she's a lie. Let her lie in peace. If you're not going to leave, let her keep lying in peace. There's no point in even argue about it. Let her lie in peace. You're not doing anything about it. If you're not going to get your things and go, you don't have to be there. There's no ties to this woman. All this is my kids when it's convenient, but when you're mad, they're your kids. Just go. You don't have.
That's the part that pisses me off the most. I don't have kids, but whenever the hell I do have a child, I wish somebody would bring up what they do for my kids just because they mad at me. Don't
Mhm.
fucking buy them nothing then, if that's the case. Like, if you actually love these kids, talk about paying the electric bill, the water bill, even that you shouldn't do. But
Right.
don't talk about what you do for the kids. Like, if you're gonna love the kids, love the kids.
Even
Don't
when he
play.
was trying to get at Marquez and he was like, "Oh, I'm sending your kids money." Like, yeah, you trying to take a shot at him, but then the kids called it straight. Cause why are you talking about what you're doing for the kids? Like,
I
leave.
agree.
Stop mentioning the kids.
So,
Like,
so speaking of Marquez, because I want to jump into this, as all of us who have taken vows and annulled, Shana, you've been married as well, I believe,
yeah.
and so why do y'all think it is taking Trisha so long to divorce Marquez?
Oh, let's go then. She's cracking up.
I mean, come on, y'all.
She still want that man. And you know what? I've been with my husband since high school. I've tried to leave his ass too. I did try. It didn't work. I'm still here. But I did try. I did. And I will say this, the bond is different. Like, I don't know how to explain it because it's not just the regular relationship. You're also growing up together on top of growing together, which are two different things. So I don't know. I feel like she still wants him, and because he's so familiar, she probably don't want to let that go. I also feel like she doesn't. I don't know that she wants Ken the way that she may have thought she did. Now that she's healing and time has passed and now she's being asked about Marquez and all these things, she's probably looking at Ken like she did start dealing with him when she was at what she describes as the lowest part of her life. All this trauma, people dying, her husband done run off to find himself. So maybe she gonna realize at a later time that Ken is like more of a trauma bond, but I think she still wants Marquez. He's familiar, so why let go of it?
Yeah, I'll say, does she want him or does she just like the comfort of the familiarity? I feel like, because I was giving her the benefit of the doubt, because I do believe sometimes, like, when you're with somebody at a young age and you grow apart. So sometimes what I thought about, what I liked about you when I was 16 and in my 20s, and now she's in her 30s going into 40, maybe I am over it. Maybe I don't want that anymore. Like, it was fine at that time, but I don't want that today's date. Until Ken said that when she texts Marquez, I'll take you back in a heartbeat. Like, you should have said that a couple episodes ago. You should have been said that. You should have led with that. She's like, she texts him what? And you continue the relationship and you
That's
didn't
why
leave
you can't
Ken?
feel sorry for Ken.
Right?
Yeah,
Like, you
because I want to know how
I
recent
left
that
you.
text
You
was.
should have said that early on. Because what? And even if it was early in a relationship, now you're saying y'all haven't been together that long. Like, what's going on and what's the time frame? It keeps changing.
It
The
does keep
goalpost
changing,
is always moving. So I
and
feel
I
like first she was kind of, maybe I was like, maybe she's over him or whatever. It's messy. When you jump out of one thing and you don't fully let the chapter close and you heal and you really move on, like, there's just gonna be mess there. You're talking about co-parenting, like an adult child. Like, this kid is grown. Like, you still want the man, or
Mhm.
even if she doesn't want him anymore, she's using him just to not marry Ken. She doesn't want to get married again. I think really it boils down to she doesn't want to jump back into another marriage. Ken, it doesn't seem like he's taking no for an answer, and it's easy to just be like, well, I can't because I'm still married.
That's a
That's
good
true.
point, Serena. That's a
That is
great
true.
point.
I don't feel, when I saw them together, I miss him. I still like it, there's still some passion there, and somebody's gonna upset you when they have years and he knows her. He knows how to push
Mhm.
her buttons. So that doesn't mean she wants him. She's gonna trigger her because he knows her. She's spent most of half of her life with him.
He's
So
hella familiar for
yeah,
her.
So
he
yeah,
knows
that
her triggers.
does.
He knows what's gonna upset her. He knows how to get
Mhm.
her in a way Ken doesn't. But she doesn't want to get. I don't think she wants to marry anyone, especially Ken. And Ken keeps talking about, oh, as soon as it happens, we're gonna get married. That would scare me too. Like,
Right.
let me finish this situation first. Give me some time. He's not allowing her to have that. So she's just like, you know what? Well, I can't marry you because I'm still married. He won't sign the papers. Just coming up. I'm too busy at work. Girl, you can take off and run down to the courthouse. It don't take all day. It really don't.
So this is my thing, and this is what I was saying, because I felt like in the beginning, I felt like Marquez does something that Ken does not do. and Ken does something that Marquez is not doing, and I feel like she was confused. But now, since we're mentioning trauma and him finding himself, I think Trisha is holding on because he's the memory before all of the tragedy happened in her life. And now she's processing through all of that. It was better before. And now it's kind of like she doesn't know which direction to go because it's confusing now. I think that's why she still holds on to him.
I think if Ken wasn't pushing, like, yeah, I want to get married, I want to, because when she got with him, remember, he said he didn't want to get married. So she probably felt like, neither do I. And it was fine until he switched up. And now it's like, wait a minute, you're switching up on me. Now you're talking about all this, I want to marry you stuff, and you won't let it go. Like, I wonder if he just stopped talking about it. How will she move and process and see what she's going to do? But he won't allow her to do it. So it's like, stop bringing it up. And when she's actually divorced, then you can have the conversation.
That's why I say he's a red flag from the moment I met him, because it's not just the traditional, oh, I'm dating someone who's separated type of relationship. It's like you're dating a woman who's separating with someone she's been with since she was a teenager, and you're dating her at a time when she's experiencing grief, trauma, and all of these other things. So I look at Ken the whole time. I've been saying this week after week with James, like with a serious side eye. He's a predator, and not the kind that we think of in the icky way, the R. Kellys and the Diddies, not that kind. Like, I really think he preys on women that are vulnerable, which a woman that's married and is now separated and trying to date is a woman that's vulnerable.
Right.
So he knows exactly what he's doing with that fucking earring. I can't stand him.
Marquez, they weren't separated when it started. So who knows? But I do feel like he gets something. Like he feels like he's winning something, like some one-sided competition.
It's a competition with
somebody's life. Like, and it's like, okay, only you don't, because maybe he is trying to overcompensate for some shortcomings in other areas. Who knows? And then, can he have kids? And I think that was a valid question Marquez asked. So who knows? But I think
Marquez is the only person whose story has not gone back and forth, up, down, left, right. Yeah. His story has been consistent and straight, which leads me to believe Marquez is telling the truth. I also believe he ain't shit, but I don't think
some things that he said that he kind of changed in interviews outside of. But I'm like, all of them are none of them shit. Like all of them shit.
I have one more messy question, then we're gonna move on. Do y'all think that Trisha and Marquez have been intimate with each other since she got with Ken?
Yeah.
We don't know when she got with Ken. So it's like, who knows? Because we don't know when they got together.
I think they was talking before the separation. I genuinely feel like she was talking to Ken before the separation. Yeah. And that's probably why he feels the way he feels. But I think they slept together because they got too much passion to not.
You shouldn't mess. I just think people do it, but I don't think somebody should mess with somebody who's still married. I don't care if they were married for a year. There's something going on. You went to the extreme to take vows and go get a marriage license and do all the things. They have kids. Like, if there's any kind of history there and it's not finished and completed, and you've been divorced for some time, or at least separated for a long time and alone, I think you should just leave it be. Like, I don't care at what point it happened. Let it end. Like, let one chapter close. If you're messed, because then he's not going to trust her. If she did divorce him and he married her, then he's going to feel like she could do the same thing to him.
Yeah.
Finally, someone with the same opinion. Shana, I've been saying this week after week after week. And it's not just because I'm married. Like, wait till the papers is done.
Yeah,
it's safer.
Yeah, just there's baggage there. There's something. There's feelings and emotions. Like, the person needs time to process that. But the fact that they do have so much history is another added layer that is just even more so. Like, why would you? Even though I don't know, Trish talking about she left Chocolate Men since when? Since Ken came along.
No, she probably cheated before Ken.
Yeah, that Martell thing is what did it for him when he's like, you respect everybody else, and then it's Martell situation, because it's like, all right, your husband, and now Martell, and that's just the two we know about. Who knows who else he caught her with that he's not mentioning?
That's a good point. So, we're going to go ahead and move on. But y'all, that was a great conversation about Ken and Trish. I don't know what they'll bring on their second season up. Hopefully it's a lot more clarity. But knowing these two, they're probably going to confuse us even more. So now we're going to get to the old season cast members of the show, which are The Scots plus Martell. I know for sure they're coming back. So, what do you think they will give next season?
Why would Martell come back though? Like at this point, unless their Ariane is actually gonna come with him, or he's dating, we're gonna see him dating people or something. Like, what do we need to see him for? Melody's gone. Martell should leave with him or leave with her.
It's funny you mention it because my next slide is going to lead into that. But let's get on to the Scots. What would y'all need them to admit or address or bring up on the show that would make them being a cast member actually worth them having a storyline? Anyone can jump in and answer this.
The Scots 2.0, they have just taken on, like Kimmy's I don't see it for Kimmy anymore. I really don't. I don't like it anymore. She's just taking on the bone carrier, bone collector narrative of trying to get stuff started. So I'm fine with them. Like the Scots 1.0, I think they're going to be pushed to the forefront. But it's what, try to focus more on his alleged cheating. No one's ever going to come out and admit to it. So who cares? Him not wearing his ring. We should talk about why Tisha mentioned briefly that they were thinking about getting divorced, and then we just moved on. Like, well, let's circle back to that.
Absolutely. I feel like that was just skated on over, and they didn't want to talk about that because it was word around the curves they were separated.
Yeah, she said it when they were looking at rings. He didn't get a ring, and we didn't hear anything else about it.
So do you think that's why she moved into that 3 and 2 as she described? That was her place and he was sleeping somewhere else last season?
Yeah, I thought that anyway, even when they did say it. I feel like they're not going to get divorced, not until that youngest child is grown. I feel like either he's going to leave. I feel like he probably wants to leave as soon as those kids get out the houses. He doesn't like, he hates Tisha, and I hate it for her because she deserves better. I'm hoping that she's playing a long game and she has an exit strategy and she has a plan and she's just sitting here for the time being.
I agree with that. I genuinely feel like these people are only together because they share the same beliefs as it comes to raising kids and being married. I feel like once the youngest child is done with school, like as in high school, I think they'll probably separate. But I feel like they don't like each other. They seem to have been living separate lives. I do remember because I watched the first 2 seasons, and it seemed like in the earlier seasons of this show, she was more of like a housewife and wanted to utilize her education and her mind to do things, which I respect. And if I recall, he was against it. That's something, me personally, I don't think that you can overcome. You can go through the worst of the worst. People done made babies on people, cheated, and all of that, but they have not tried to dim the light of their partner. And it seems like he wants to dim her light and have her in the kitchen barefoot, pregnant, making cornbread from scratch and greens and all types of other stuff. And he wants to be allowed to do whatever the hell it is that he does. But I feel like the show has gone to both of their heads, and I don't care to see them no more.
I feel like Tisha is like Nell, but younger, where she places so much value on being married, though. Like, she doesn't want to go and be like, I'm single. She gets something. I'll be like, we've been married before the Fletchers came. She's always saying, we've been married the longest. Like, with a marriage like that, no, thank you. I'd rather not be married at all. But okay,
Right.
Your son doesn't even know your kid has an allergy, like to, what was it, eggs or peanut butter? Like, you said you had to take your son to get haircuts. You have a husband.
Right.
What is he there to do exactly? That he signed you up for embarrassment. This last time, my protector, he didn't protect her from a damn thing. Like, I think she
The way he let Martell yell at her for as long as Martell was allowed. When men look at me with not the happiest of faces or speak in a crazy tone, my husband be ready to get active. I don't know if it's because he's from Oakland or whatever the hell it is, but he do not play that. So it's very strange that another man could just yell and speak about your wife in front of you,
right,
and you do nothing but try to tell her to be
allow
quiet.
her to defend herself. Right. He's just like, at least allow Tisha to speak, because why was she sitting there? You telling her, oh, don't say anything. What? He likes a dictatorship. I mean, I think he likes that he can control Tisha, but he doesn't like. They got married because she was pregnant, so it was just never really. It's always been that. So I feel like the kids were the only thing keeping them together. The kids that he literally said at one point are Tisha's kids.
I remember that season 1. I totally remember that. I do want to talk about Kimmy for a second because I feel like we all are on the same page about how Kimmy was a complete disappointment. I'm gonna keep it real. I liked Kimmy from season 1 up until maybe season 5, and it was her unfortunate fight with cancer that made me look at her differently. And it was Maurice playing in her face, talking about he still pressures her or still forces her to have sex, even in the conditions that she were in, going through chemo and, all of that situation. I'm not a woman. I can't really dictate how hard that would be, but I can't imagine it was, something you would want your spouse to say going through a life, altering situation. So I want to get your perspective on how you felt Maurice, has really shaped her into being this pick me all of a sudden, because that's not how she came off in the beginning.
Kimmy has always been a pick me. I think people just liked her, so they overlooked it. She was a pick me on season 1. She's been a pick me from day 1. She was a pick me when she said she waited around for 7 years for him to propose. She was a pick me when he let him trick her into buying a house. You don't buy no house with no boyfriend. She was a pick me when she said that when he shaped up the back of her neck into that, like, it looked like a soup bowl or something when she had, I don't know what that was. When she said, oh, she chased after him and to get her son's haircut, he was still married. When I knew she was a jump off, and I said his ex-wife wasn't lying, allegedly, she really was the side piece trying to get that man. I'm like, Kimmy has always been that. And she always used to say, he's like Marcel. She's just like his brother. So she knew what it was. She's been a pick-me. She was just, not as boisterous about it. Like, we were focusing so much on Mel and Martell that they were just sliding under the radar. But when he said that, now it's like, oh, Kimmy, all of a sudden, she's been like this. So yeah, she's gonna lay down. She's always been a pick me. She wanted to be married so bad. I think she's getting older. She's older than him, even though she looks great. She's a woman of a particular age, and so she's like, look, I don't want to lose my man. They say when women get sick or they go through situations like this, the husbands typically leave. So she probably felt like, I got to do what I have to do to keep my husband. Who cares how much he embarrassed me? And if I'm suffering, I have to do what I have to do to keep this man that's not worth anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually liked Kimmy in the earlier seasons. Then when I came back to watching this show, I stopped caring for her. There's definitely a change. Now, I didn't see all of that with the cancer. I actually did not watch that season. But that tells me that she's insecure and likely really is a pick me, because at that moment, you should be fully supported and loved. Sex is the last thing your man should really be thinking about when you're ill. That's very strange to me that he would even go to that space, and that shows where he views the value in her. It's in her coochie from his eyes. He don't see nothing else. But with Kimmy, I used to like her for the reason that it seemed like she would speak her mind, even if it was against what everyone else may have felt. But in recent seasons, since I've been here, that she does give pick me. It's very annoying. She's also wishy-washy to me. Like, she'll say one thing to one person and then act like she's just this most prestigious, honest person, but then she be just as messy as the rest of them. And I think that shows more. So that's probably why people not liking her. But I don't care for these people and their marriage at all. Like, the Scotts are the example of how to be married and unhappy, and why people need to stop focusing on marriage as the end goal, and that's coming from a married person. Just focus on being happy and finding someone you can be comfortable with and your true authentic self with, because if not, you'll end up like these people with a lot of money and just fucking miserable.
Yeah
We're
in the South, and I feel like well, we don't live there, but I feel like they still hold on to like those traditional values of that being married. So when Marcel used to say like, oh, he thinks Melody would still be with him if it wasn't for this show, I feel the same way. I feel like they would just put up, with anything just for the sake of being married. And it's just unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. And I feel like that's not any reason to be married. And I feel like people need to really look at marriage for what it is. It is a binding contract. You're going into this because you are going to be honest, truthful, loyal to the person that you're bringing into the situation with. One of the things I also want to talk about was Maurice's DUI and how he was deflecting on it the entire time he's been on camera, and Kimmy's protection of him, because in the instance of when that situation happened, she said to him, I didn't know where you were. I went by the office. You weren't there because I thought you maybe sleep there. But when she has her conversation with Melody, she says, oh, I knew where he was and I knew what was going on. So it was like, Kimmy, which one is it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, which one are you trying to? Because are you trying to?
Cameras are rolling, like
right. Like it was like, whoa. I was like, back up, Kimmy, because that's not what you said. So now you want to backpedal, and I don't know why she has this disdain to protect his, like, I don't know if it's a nudge or if he's acting out of impulse. I don't know what it is, but she always seems to want to protect it instead of calling a spade a spade. Why are you drinking and driving? Is there a bigger issue that I need to know?
And why would he be asleep at the office if that's your husband?
And if he did fall asleep at the office, which makes no sense, why didn't you know about it? You couldn't get in touch with him. You couldn't call him, and you got called and you couldn't get an answer. You had to drive over there. It's like a motherly son type of thing in their dynamic. Mm-hmm. He act like he can't function, even with the cancer situation. Not only did she have to lay on her back and suffer through it, his words, she also had to cook, clean as normal, take care of his son. She didn't want his son to move with them because she knew she was going to take on the bulk of the parenting, which she did. Like, you still had all these expectations, and the lady is going through chemo. So it's like and then when she was going through chemo, she's like, I got to cook meals and like meal prep for them so they can have something to eat. Like, it's like she treats him like he's her adult child that can't function. Why are you're coming in to protect him like a motherly thing instead of letting him learn these lessons on his own? He's a lawyer. He knows better.
He does. That's a very, very good point, because he's literally trained in law and ethics. And the more important part is the ethics. Like, ethically, the way you doing your wife, sir, is absolutely wrong. I can't stand it. But I can't help but think that maybe, like, Mel may have had a different vision for this show that she participated in creating than the vision that Carlos and the network has. Because when you really get down to it and just have like a basic conversation about these couples with anybody, whether you know them or not, these are terrible examples of love and marriage, like from the very beginning. So is the Scots are, to me, the worst. They're awful. Yeah. They're like the worst. Like, they
Melody and Martell. Because
Martell is horrible.
He had that baby.
Yeah, he did. But in terms of, like, I feel like the Scots, the men, would do the same things that Martell has done and may have already done some of those same things, and we just don't know about it.
Yeah, they're not as sloppy. Because everybody, when they were talking about that trip to Atlanta, all the men was there, including Chris Fletcher, I believe. So it's like, okay, all of y'all are participating. But the problem is Martell got exposed. Now he wants to expose everybody. But I feel like they're all doing the same thing. The wives know.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I don't like Martell. It's because as quick as you get caught, you want to tattletale on all your friends and get them caught. Like, to me, I feel like you have no solidarity as a person. So, like, right? Like, why blow up my spot and yours got blown up?
You
like,
were sloppy. Like, leave me alone.
Right? Let me have my peace. I couldn't be friends with him because I feel like I would have to watch myself around him, and I should be free in this country to do what as I please. I shouldn't have to wait for you to get to Mad Day and say, "Oh, James, you remember you ran that red light over there on 3rd Street?"
Right, collected offenses.
I don't know if the Scott brothers had these women signing NDAs, but they ain't coming out. And Maurice keeps going through because we keep talking about Marcel is cheating too. Like, why do we keep forgetting about Maurice?
Oh no, we're not forgetting about Maurice. I've been saying on these recaps, I think he is trash. He's terrible.
He is trash, and I feel like
that's what he said about his wife, but he's down there with them as well. Credit one while all that is carrying on.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Honestly, I used to think, and I'm about to catch hell for this, but I do not care. I used to think Maurice was like Martell in the sense of satisfaction of women. I used to think Maurice was just like that. I just feel like his element of it is different. And for those of you who do not know, when Martell tells people that Melody was not satisfying him, it's the word satisfying. Usually when a man tells me she's not satisfying me, it means that you're trying to cover up something. Either you're running from homosexuality and you're trying to use a whole bunch of women to mask that because that's what toxic men tell you to do, or you really don't like who you're with, but you're too invested in it. I want to say it's the other and not him running for homosexuality, but I had the same thought about Maurice as I did Martell.
Yeah.
I did. Because why do you need sex that much?
Right.
Why are you hypersexualized?
Yeah.
And then why be married on top of that?
I mean, simply put, birds of a feather gonna flock together. And Maurice did from like the earlier seasons, he did show himself as like anytime he would speak to Kimmy or the things he needed, he always had to bring up aesthetics and sex and all this extra stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me.
That's AKA.
No, thank you for coming. Good night, love. Come back next week. We'll be here. And I'm gonna do the last segment. And this segment is predictions of the next up and coming season. Shana's gonna laugh at one of these pictures, so Shana, be prepared. But this is my predictions of what I want to see or what I think I will see next season. So boom. I feel like Ariane is going to join the show now that Mel is gone. I feel like they've been trying to get her on the show for seasons, ever since probably the baby happened. I felt like, okay, now it's time to work her way in. So now that Melody is gone, I feel like they are definitely going to try to usher her in at some point, whether if it's to expose the infidelities of the other men or if it's just to show her relationship with Martell. I feel like we're going to see her in some capacity. Do you ladies think we'll see Ariane Curry on the next season, season 10?
I feel like they might, but Mel is not on the show anymore as a cast member, but she's still an executive producer. So she may still be in the background and potentially able to call shots. So I would say it's 50-50. I will say, though, if that heifer's on the show, I'm not watching her scenes.
I think that I think it's a good chance that she will. Even though Mel has producer credits, so does Martell. Melody couldn't get Martell off the show, even with everything they were going through. So, I feel like she can only do but so much. I mean, and that, especially after she exposed Carlos. And Carlos did change the trajectory because Mrs. Best touched on that earlier. Like, this wasn't what Mel wanted. When she pitched the show, it was for them to talk about them as, a power couple and their businesses. And he wanted to throw in that drama. So the show it's hers, but it's not really hers. I mean, I think it makes sense to bring her on. But at this point, I feel like now it's gotten so old with the Martell and Ariane thing. Like, now I don't care anymore. I wanted to hear about it when the drama was hot. Now, the child is like about to go to school. Like, I don't care anymore now.
Right. But I do think that, like Triana Hawkins, hi, thank you for being here. I hope you subscribe to me. I do think that Carlos is going to bring her on to Spider-Man. I can definitely see Carlos doing this. I really can. So I feel like that is definitely going to be something that may interest people, and we'll see what happens. My next thing, this is Shana's going to be Herodite Vicar. I really feel like there's an avenue where Carlos is going to ask Tiffany to come back. And I honestly am not, I would be here for it if Tiffany came back because I need answers and we're not getting them. And when Tiffany was on the show, we got answers. We may not have liked the answers or we may have thought, wow, okay, she really went there. But I felt like she was so messy in a way where it worked for me. I'm sorry, it did. But I know there's an answer to this, but I would love to hear it come out her own mouth. Do you think that you would like to see Tiffany back on the show now that she's been gone?
Would I like to? Absolutely not. She doesn't do anything for me. It's like forced with her questioning. We didn't get any answers. She just started this mess and everybody just got mad. But we didn't, it left unresolved. And it was just like, that was just the end of it. She doesn't add any value to the show. And now that Kimmy's taking on Bone Collector, we don't need Tiffany in there too. And definitely don't want to see Big Lou. Like, I don't care what they got going on. They got to have a storyline of their own besides her starting mess, which they didn't have one that was interesting enough.
Well, no, Tiffany came in with a bang, though. I will say that she was called Destiny out there. I saw a barrack. I thought that was you, but I guess it wasn't you. And, she just came in with a bang. And I was just like, whoa, lady, slow down. So I think I need that. I really do. That just for my selfish reasons. Mrs. Best, how would you feel if Tiffany came back?
Okay, so my hair braider, love her to death. But she that's the lady who was pregnant for hella episodes on this show, from what I remember. And I do agree with Shayna that she is very forward with like how she questions people and her messiness. Like it almost feels forced, like she knows the camera is on her, so she's trying to perform. But at the same time, I do think it's good to have a couple on there that's strong. But I don't think her and her husband are that couple. They need to find like I think a balance.
Yeah.
Because she was a bit much. I didn't dislike her. She was just like a lot, in my opinion. But I, especially if Martell and the side chick come on here, if you add Tiffany and her shenanigans to a rogue Martell, because Mel is gonna be gone, that's gonna be too damn much to watch a recap. So I'm a pass on Tiffany. I'm sorry, James.
That's okay. I could just keep my fantasies of me seeing Tiffany because I really feel like I hate reviewing the show. I really do. And I wish I reviewed it when Tiffany was on there so I could call her out on some stuff. But I don't know. I just felt like the show needs something else. I don't know if it's necessarily Tiffany, but I would love to see a Tiffany-esque person.
We need
on
a
the show.
cash shakeup.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then my last prediction is Marquez joining the show. I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like he's going to be a full-time cast member. I feel like we need someone to kind of spike Trish a little bit based on how she was moving.
The show is called Love and Marriage Huntsville, and he is still in a marriage with a cast member.
Yeah, he is.
Technically, yeah, I guess, So, yeah, I feel like I can definitely see him coming on as a full-time cast member. So I think that these are my predictions. I feel like we know the Scotts are coming back without question. I know Martell is, I think he'll be here as well, whether or not Ariana.
So he needs to check. And Marquez did say he's trying to move to Huntsville, so there's that. So I'm sure he'll be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know Sunny isn't coming back with Mose. I know they're not coming back because she said that on her IG. She's not coming back. I don't know if
pay that restitution. Stand beside him.
Right. I don't know if Destiny is coming back. Do we think Destiny is coming back?
Maybe, but
I don't see
with the Lance situation.
I don't believe it. Sorry.
If the Scotts come back, and I feel like Destiny will come back because Martell don't have no allies right now with them. He need a friend, and she's really his only friend.
And she's messing with Lance. So
if the Fletchers come back, her messing with Lance.
I don't believe that. I just don't believe she's messing with him.
I think it's just a casual thing, like she said it was. I don't think it was nothing serious. I think it was casual.
I think she was playing with him like she was playing with Jalen.
Yeah, I don't think she really likes him. I don't think it's serious. I think it is casual. Like, he's cute. Despite just a little casual thing, and it gives her a storyline.
Yeah, I wouldn't push him out the bedroom, but I'm just saying, for me,
yeah, I don't like him like that.
I don't see it. To me, Destiny gives that she likes being like Moses, that always be in prison or always in trouble with the law or something like that.
She needs him with an anklet or on parole or probation.
Yeah, that's what she gives me. I don't know why.
Barry didn't have any record prior to this little thing that happened just now that we know of.
Well, she didn't stay with them that long either.
Yeah, I was gonna say that didn't
work. Yeah, she didn't stay with them that long either. Like it was very much
before they got married. So
I feel like once again we don't know Destiny's timeline with men because she said that with Moses it was on and off for 15 years. We know there was several years with LeBert. I don't know what Destiny's timeline is with these men because it seems to always be changing.
Yeah, but she never said, because people keep saying, I think they heard 15 years. She said they were friends for 15 years, but they weren't dating for 15 years. Then so I don't think she got no type. She just date whoever.
But then that's also going to make me look at her differently in the situation with Sunny. Then why would you be mad at that then?
Because she still did date him. Like I don't think she was dating him for 15 years, but she was dating him when
Sunny. It's girl code.
Yeah,
you just don't do that to your homegirl.
I don't care if I was dating him for a month. If I
don't touch him,
and then why would you want? You see a man with another woman. Why do you want that? Like, what about that is appealing for you?
Right.
I guess because I have one of my former best friends, and we're not friends because of this situation ending. He married my ex-girlfriend. So it was one, and I wasn't tripping. I was like, okay. I mean, because it had been years. It had been maybe 7, 8 years since she and I were together. So
It's also comes down to not just feelings or any of that. I think it also
Mhm.
comes down to mess. I had a friend who we both went to high school with, James, who had a baby with an ex of mine. I did not care because that was an ex from way, way back in the day. But where it started to become a problem when he and her would get into it, I guess he would make comparisons about me. Well, look what Amina got. She got her boots laced. She used to call me so I could hear it. And I said, no, wait a damn minute.
Yeah, like, how do I get into this?
I don't have anything to do with this. This is an ex from high school.
Yeah,
And
like
this
if
happened
somebody,
when I was damn near 30. So
yeah,
I'm
like if
like,
somebody from high school, I probably wouldn't. But this wasn't that. Like,
but
but
it
it's funny.
still caused mess, is
Yeah,
the thing.
for
So,
me, I feel like if I'm friends with you, we're actually friends, and you date my like, it should be off limits. I don't care what the timeline is. Like, it should be off limits. The fact that they're so
exactly.
close, like they just were going, they weren't even a break. There was overlap. And Sonny like sought out after him. Like you saw him with Destiny and you wanted to have that. Like to me, that doesn't even make sense. Like you are not a trustworthy person.
She's
We
not.
weren't even done. And then here you come acting like you're confiding in me when you're really trying to find out information to get this man. Like I get that he's cute, but girl, is there nobody else in town? Like this is the only man available?
I don't
Mm.
know. Well, you know that from what I understand, there's something about St. Louis men. I don't mean to disrespect anybody, any men from St. Louis, but the ladies, all that who have channels that are from St. Louis, talk about y'all like crazy. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying, apparently y'all, and I guess the women may be just all in the same realm. I don't know what it is about St. Louis. I've only been once, and that wasn't long enough for me to determine the elements of what goes on there. So,
My mama's side of the family is from there. And I got some cousins, hell, some uncles. They hoes. So I'll leave it there.
I wouldn't want to know. I remember Sonny and Moses was saying they was cousins at one point. So I'm like, what's going on? So this was not no, oh well, that was my ex from in high school. Like this was not that. Like Sonny is no.
Sunny, I still don't feel like she should have done what she did, but both of these women, the fact that she will bury girl code, I still find it to be messy. But then I also feel like Destiny is messy.
Yeah.
And I want them all to talk about different things if they come back.
Yeah, I'm right.
yes.
I think everybody needs to come back with a new storyline. We're talking about old drama. Even with the Scots 1.0 arguing with Martell about stuff that happened in high school. Like, that was 30 years. I don't care. Everybody needs to have fresh new drama going on, or we need to recast a cast shakeup. We need new people.
Right. Or if Carlos, if you gonna keep this cast, hi Naya, thank you for being here, love. We appreciate you. If you are going to keep this cast, Carlos, I want you to rebrand the show back to the original message, which was providing housing and home for the, people in low income housing or whatever that premise was that they fed us.
These
I want
criminals can't do that.
Hmm?
So these criminals can't do that. We got people with open records and no builder's license till this day. Like, just let that
Shayna!
it's over with.
She said it so politely. These criminals can't do that. She meant that.
I mean, but still, like I need him to do something and that's another thing. I don't want him to mess up Family Empire Houston. I don't want him to mess. I feel like that's what's coming, and I'm going to be mad because I
I don't think
love.
he will, because they're an actual family. There's some toxicity, but it's not as bad as what you see, like with the Scots and the people
Mhm.
on here. So I feel like Family Empire would be okay.
This is his like bread and butter. Like this is his money maker. So he's got to keep the drama hot on this show.
Yes.
Hmm.
So with that being said, I am going to recap Love and Marriage Detroit. I understand it is coming back very soon. I am going to pick back up with that show, even though I do not want to, because it's so exhausting. That show is so exhausting to do. And
Why are you doing it? Like, don't do it.
because I really didn't have anything else. Like I really did not have anything else to recap. So I was like,
You ready to love? I love that show.
That is a good show. I suggested that to him. I suggested put a ring on it to him. Because if y'all could hear the way James curses before these lives start for Love and Marriage Detroit, I'd be scared.
I can't get into it. I'm not suffering and torturing myself.
No, I'm telling you, it's only 2 couples on there that get on my nerves so far that really like just irk me.
It's just not good. Like, I don't know how to.
Because he don't. That's what I said. I feel like he really didn't scout big enough.
It's crazy because he's from Detroit.
Yeah,
that was
the
best.
You don't know anybody else. And then I don't know where's Grown and Gospel at. I actually liked that show. I was like, "Where's Grown and Gospel, Carlos?"
That's that show ain't coming back.
I ain't never even heard of that show.
That was on WeTV.
It was on WeTV.
But Carlos did it.
And is Malaysia show coming back? Ain't Carlos behind that one too?
Bold and Bougie?
Yeah.
I thought that was canceled.
Should be. It's not good.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying, y'all. But Love and Marriage Huntsville, that's it. That's all. Whether or not I come back next season, we'll see. I didn't have a bad season. I really didn't. It was a good season 9. Y'all fans didn't do the most. I'm so happy for that because I said the first fan that come crazy defending Martell, I'm cutting it off.
You still got to get to the reunion. It's not over yet.
Oh, damn, Gina.
It's to be determined. I'm just kidding. I'm coming back for the reunion. I'm coming back. But
look on Netflix for some shows. There's
I know Rags to Riches. That show got on my nerves.
No, because I saw the first episode and I was about ready to cuss everybody out. Sherelle is too much. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. Nope.
And I like Selling Tampa, but Wags of Riches, no.
No.
I haven't even watched it, but based on what I'm hearing, I will not.
Yeah. I want to. That show is one problematic situation from a lawsuit. Yeah, I see. But that was it. I want to thank Shana for coming for her very first time being on my channel. You are so amazing. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you doing this for me. You have no idea how much this means, and I'm glad I was able to coordinate it right. I want to thank Mrs. Best for being here and giving me the courage to come on this camera and actually have the 3 of us unite again for a chance on my channel. So now Shana has to do the honors and have a guest on her channel or something.
Once I figure out what's going on with my channels.
Yes. But yes, to be the glory to you though. Things are gonna happen for you, friend. I promise. Like things are going. You do well. So yes. But we coming on Shana's channel.
Yeah, like one of them. I figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had anybody on my channel in a long time, so it's time.
It is time. I think you should do it because I see all the panels you go on, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to be on there with y'all.
Somebody was just like, you don't invite me, and I'm like, I've gone on. I'm like, I go when I get invited. I haven't had anything because I don't know what's going on. My channel's just been like in limbo. So, but yeah, I get it. It's everybody else in the community. So, and I enjoy doing it. So, anytime I always have to come back, and I will have y'all as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got ideas. RHOA's coming back. We can always.
Oh Lord, that trailer was a little underwhelming, but yeah.
Yes, we can always talk about that on your channel. I'll give you that segment. I'll definitely give my opinion. So, yeah.
It was very lackluster. The trailer was underwhelming, but maybe the stager was in it. I don't know.
All right, well, ladies, it's been a pleasure. I got to get ready for work and wish me luck as this is my Friday, and I cannot wait to get my behind back home to go to sleep. So I thank you guys once again. Love you both so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.